Welcome everybody to a game that I will promise you is going to be awesome. It is one of the best PvZs you could possibly see. We've got dKiller, the yellow Zerg in the bottom right, going up against Complexity's RSVP, the red Protoss in the top left. We are playing on GSL Antiga Shipyard, so I'm pretty sure people are familiar with the map. It is a great macro map, 3 bases you can take fairly quickly, which is especially important in PvZ. Because it's GSL, you've got gold base being removed. It is just a very simple blue mineral base.
Yeah, and that's gonna discourage that early expansion to the center and that early economic boost, and kind of force you, not really force you to play, safer, but kind of forcing you to reevaluate where you're going to take your third or possibly second base. So very smart move there by GSL. Love the fact that they do that to a lot of these maps. So yeah, I didn't know that they had done it to the Antiga Shipyard, but very, very good call. So many times I've seen a lot of Zerg players, like I said before, just take that gold right off the bat, kind of hide it, off to the side, and then just ransack somebody real fast. So it's going to be interesting to see how RSVP moves into his expansion here as he's checking out Killer right now. Killer's going with the pool first, and looks like RSVP is kind of setting himself up already for that expansion. He's got the pylon out there. I guess he's just waiting to see when Killer's going to drop his, so he knows he's going to be safe to take his own.
Yep, he looks like he may be trying to stretch the timing and get down at Nexus first, because without that Forge going down, looks like we're going to see a 15 Nexus, and then the Forge afterwards. It would seem, but it's actually kind of a late sending out this probe, so it's still early Nexus. Nexus first is always great if you can get away with it, and we can see that he is trying to delay this natural for a little bit, but Killer is doing a good job of faking him out because the 300 minerals only just now got mined, and he may be able to get down that hatchery in a second, but a pylon gets thrown down just in time as that probe is only at 10 health.
That is the greatest jerk maneuver that a Protoss can do to a Zerg. Just drop that pylon right there and just walk away. I love that.
But we do see the third gets taken as the natural expansion, and RCP then chooses to let the pylon finish, even though the pool's already done and 4 links are on the way. That pretty much negates the benefit that he would have gotten from canceling, if he had canceled that, or I'm getting it backwards. Basically, he should have canceled that to be better.
Yeah, just to have a little bit more of more of the minerals back there definitely would have been nice. But I guess it's buying him just a little bit more time. But again, he supplies blocks himself right now, and so he has to go out and build another one. But he's got to save up the minerals for it, and that can be dangerous when you do that kind of thing. You always got to have a backup whenever you're going to do something not really risky like that, but kind of out there. You need to have something on the back end, because it was a good 30 seconds kind of wasted being supply blocked.
Yeah, so now RSVP is actually chrono boosting out his supply block Nexus, which is always sad to see, but he's rebelling against the Terran, and he's actually going to kill off the supply depot, free up a little bit of space for SimCity if he needs it, as if there's some crazy Zerglings cheese, if he needs to quickly wall this off for some reason, he'll actually be able to at the ramp if he so desires. That doesn't happen, but it's weird that he's actually going for the cybernetics core up here, as it also serves to give him another fallback wall-off position.
Yeah, it sure does. So he's definitely looking for the long and short of the situation here. He's got a forward position, he's got the fallback position, and then it's just going to come back to see how Killer is going to actually go for the attack. Is he going to do a straightforward attack? Is he going to try to take him right in at the mineral line? Or is he going to try to do something creative? Try to weasel in something from the back end, drop in roaches, burrow them under. It can get pretty interesting depending on how the Zerg player likes to toy with their opponent.
Yeah, but also let's take a look at what Killer is doing, because I've been watching him, waiting for him to throw down tech or something, but he has literally only just now thrown down 2 extractors. He got 3 bases, got his extractors at 6 minutes, already has 30 drones in 3 different bases, a huge spread of drones to the point where he's actually behind in drones but higher in the mineral income. So that's actually a really, really nice set of drawing that he's done. Is so much larva at his disposal, and 3 queens for 3 hatches. It's a really, really nice lead into the mid game, but he can do nothing for the early game.
No, yeah, and he's got to be able to play with these little Zerglings as best as he can. He's only got about 7 or 8 of them right now, and he's got to be really, really careful not to lose too many attacking these zealots. Because if RSVP kind of gets the hint that there's not that much there, he could be in some serious, serious trouble. We already see the robotics facility just about complete right there, so we could see immortals come out. After Killer starts to make his tech switch up, but RSVP is already right on top of everything. He's getting the sentries, he's getting the observers, he's going to be able to see everything that's going along in the map, take map control, and he can start to pull ahead economically if he can catch up to Killer's lack of drones at this point.
So now look at what Killer is doing. He's now adding on a Roach Warren and Evo Chamber. So he can start getting upgrades and prepare for a very nice Roach mid game. You can see right now we're a little after 8 minutes, which means now is when you're gonna have to start looking at preparing for aggression. But we see that RSVP just added on a Twilight Council, so we could be seeing some, say, fast Blink. If he goes Blink, Stalker, and Immortals, it's a very strong combination. He'll only have 4 gates in a row, which means he'll probably go for some kind of expansion or crazy weird maybe DT tech or something in order to use the money. But with only 4 gates in a row, it's not that much production he's going to be able to do.
No, you're right. And, now that observer's just kind of flying in there, he's going to see the layer coming in. He's going to see all the little things that Killer's been doing in the background now. So it's going to be decide and go time for RSVP. He's getting out more sentries. I really like that. He's going to get out that immortal. He's going to be able to get into that base. He's going to be able to start throwing down a little bit of the force field power there to lock things into place and start chipping away at the production cycles of Killer. So he's going to have to resort to making more units. He's not going to be able to drone up. He's not going to be able to take those additional expansions, and that's going to put RSVP a little bit further ahead as long as he can capitalize on those little holes that he makes. As always, he's going to look for that one little thing and keep hammering on it until Killer shows another weakness, and he's just going to move from there.
Yep. Looks like RSVP's lagging. Is that the name that you just saw pop up?
I barely got a glimpse of it, but yeah, it did look like RSVP.
So I thought I just saw it was red. Because I'm noticing there's seems to be a slight little bit of lag spikes. I'm going to ask RSVP, do you need a PP? Yeah. Alright, well hopefully that's gonna be taken care of soon, but just bad internet.
It's bad internet. Sometimes that happens.
All right. Well, sometimes just pausing the game for a couple seconds will actually be enough to help the lag. Hopefully that will be the case, because I'm also staring at my XSplit looking for dropped frames, and I haven't dropped a single frame this entire time. I've got winter air streaming onto my computer as well as a cooler thing, so I am 99% certain that it's not me, because I've taken every precaution that I can. But it seems that it is RSVP. But as far as the game itself goes, Killer is taking a 4th base. We can see that in the bottom left of that mini-map, going for the 3rd base of the bottom left main. As his choice for that. We are watching the production tab. We see a Spire a 3rd of the way done, as well as a macro hatch being produced, as well as Ling's melee attack and Glider Constitution. So looks like RSVP is actually finally ready to get this going, but something to realize is the fact that this could be signs of a Broodlord transition with that melee attacking, unless we're going to see a huge flow of links coming in. But with the Glider Constitution also being researched, it means those Roaches can be effective if we're going to see a switch into those, or a combination of Roach Ling, which seems to be what's happening at the moment. But that melee attack is especially important when you think late game and Broodlords.
Right, yeah, and with him taking that 4th base right now, I think I'm right there with you. He's going to try to tech up real fast, get that Spire going. He's probably going to throw down that Hive as soon as he gets everything up that he can. And, yeah, we could see Broodlords, and Broodlords with everything else, are going to just be devastating to RSVP. You know, who's basically relying pretty heavily on sentries right now to bulk up his defenses right now, and he is going to be able to take down this wall pretty quickly here to lead into the third here of RSVP, who's just kind of waiting at the top of the ramp.
Alright, and yeah, we are seeing a nice little engagement here. The ramp was taken down by those warships. Now you have a nice force that's blocking them off, cordoning off a huge chunk of those units, and we see a nice chunk of them taken out. RSVP does manage to hold out without too much difficulty, and take a look at those cannons locked in behind those gateways. It's a great way to defend against Lynx, almost perfect SimCity for that goal. But as far as things goes, we can see that Blink has already been researched for him. Robotics Bay is out, but nothing being researched there quite yet. But a bunch of mutas just popped. A huge chunk of mutas. Oh my god, Killer has 14 on the field, 15 on the field right now, bringing in more. +1 flyer attacks, a lot of Lings coming down. This fourth base is now completed, and this is going to be deadly.
Yeah, this is gonna be absolutely brutal toward Killer. He's got 2 cannons going down in the back of his main right now, but by the time they get there, that massive chunk of Mutalisk is gonna be able to do so much damage to everything. And there's just one pylon controlling the 2, so if you can take down that pylon pretty quickly, it's gonna be all over for those cannons and all over for that worker line.
Yep, and now we're watching as those probes are getting taken out without too much difficulty, and Killer is just targeting down the Stalkers. He realizes there are so few they can't actually engage in a direct fight with the mutas, and he's going to take this opportunity to take down pylons, force a cancellation on what looked like it might have been another Robo or a Stargate or something, but that higher in place got canceled. But there aren't really any solid defensive against muta units out, except Blink Stalkers, and they're not in high enough numbers for it to really matter. This Colossus now being taken down. We do have Lings there waiting to engage. Colossus does get picked off, and that is a nice thing to do. You do not want to be the Colossus player against heavy mutas.
No, you sure don't. And they were excellent force fields there by RSVP to lock those Lings out from slipping in behind and getting into that worker line on the third. So very, very good. Just double force field right there. But now we see a huge run in into the natural of the Lings and mutas right on top of one another. The Stalkers are trying to do what they can. Guardian shields being popped all over the place, trying to hold them back. The Colossus is out now, raking fire back and forth across that, and they managed to clean every one of those Lings up, and just 2 Mutalisks make it out of the fray right there. So that is definitely a good pushback there for RSVP. But he's so far behind right now in food count. He's down to 134 out of the 173 of Killer, who's already at the max 200 for his max army count. So, you know, this is going to get very, very dangerous for RSVP if he doesn't start bulking up that army.
Yeah, and by the way, look at the worker count. We have 92 drones out for Killer, and we have 65 probes out for RSVP. So RSVP is kind of the low end, but it's still enough you can produce a semi-decent army. But now we're going to watch. We have the Guardian Shield up. A lot of Lings being locked out by those force fields. Great forces coming in. There are a good count of mutas getting taken out by those Blink Stalkers. Very, very nice. It does help that RSVP has those 2-1 upgrades. Killer only has the attack upgrade for his mutas, and as far as his Lings go, they actually have the +2 attack as well. So they're doing a nice bit of damage themselves, but we are going to see RSVP trying to take down this 4th base for Killer, who's actually also expanding next to RSVP.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. I kind of like that approach right there. He'll be able to get those Mutalisks and have them zip right over there pretty quickly. But yeah, he's gonna lose his 4th with no question, no doubt about it. But there's gonna be a little bit of a run-in with the Mutalisks into the 3rd now of Killer, getting into the worker line, just wiping out whatever they can. They're gonna get a hold of the pylons. They're gonna force all the probes to pull out. At that point, both of the cannons are down, so there's absolutely no defenses here. And down goes that Nexus, completely supply blocking RSVP at this point. Good blink in from those Stalkers are going to force the runner around back into the natural, and looking even more dangerous now.
Yeah, this is crazy. I'm watching the use loss tab during this, just looking at all the deaths that are happening, and it is crazy how much Killer has lost and how much he's been able to produce. But that base is now done, that expansion in the top middle. I don't think that RSVP has any idea yet, no idea whatsoever. But still, we already see RSVP's Zealot here going to get killed by drones, who will then be able to expand once again to that base while this other expansion in the bottom left is being taken. But now we are seeing RSVP forced to engage, because if he doesn't, if he's passive right now, Killer has this game easy without a doubt. But he's got to continue being aggressive and use this opportunity before Killer can remax again and bank a lot of money.
Right, you know, and Killer's still moving around with those Mutalisks. They're denied, forced to cancel on that third being remade right there. He, you know, he also tried to expand down to the lower left-hand main, and that got denied pretty quickly by those Mutalisks. And now he's trying to find a good economic flow right here. He's using the Observer now to try to pick off some more of the creep tumors. He's trying to find whatever little advantages he can at this point, because again, he's still really far behind, 153 to 172 on the food count. Trying to take out the fourth base now of Killer, manages to wipe that out, and he's going to have to move into a big flurry of Zealots, or sorry, of Zerglings and Mutalisks again.
Yeah, but oh, here we have the Lings, and a few of them were actually inside the force fields, and that is bad news for RSVP. He's completely locked in. He does have vision of the high ground, though, so he is going to be able to pull back, and we are going to watch as a lot of these are going down.
That is amazing micro right there. He pulled one, the ones that were really damaged, pulled them onto the high ground, blinked them up there. Really good job there. Try to keep them around as much as possible, but those Mutalisks are just so brutal right now. Even though they only have the 0-1 upgrades at this point, you know, and they're still being churned out by RSVP.
Yeah, and all these
Killer. Sorry.
Yeah, and all these mutas are doing such a good job being active. It's crazy. And actually, Ghost User was actually just messaging me saying he's watching Cats versus Kiwi or something like that, and right now we're watching RSVP against Killer, so we just have PVZs all around. If I'm assuming I'm getting the Kiwi Kaki is Protoss and Cats is Zerg. What's with PVZ today? It's so ridiculous. And by the way, the top middle was also attacked earlier, and that one Zealot is just trying to wail away on a few larvae. But now we have it encountering a huge cloud of mutas.
Yeah, that right there is just, you know, that's trying to fight in the shade right there. All of those Mutalisks moving in there. Now they're moving into the main. There's not a whole lot. Storm's trying to go down, trying to capture as many as they can. Kind of winged them a little bit, but not a good throwdown at this point. And those High Templar just don't seem to have enough energy right now to throw a consistent amount of storms. They can maybe throw down one more at this point, but you know, with all those bulked up Mutalisks, it's going to be really hard to try to take them all out with just one or two storms at a time. He's going to have to get those more in bulk, going to have to get a lot more stalkers as well. But looking at the production tab, he's just barely able to make probes at this point.
Yeah, we're going to see it moving in. He managed to magic box the Thor wisely, but there's a good storm. Oh, other storm misses, and that is bad. Right now, RSVP is running on no money. The income is vastly in favor of Killer, but now that this Nexus is done, that's going to be the bread and butter. But there we have some storms landing. Very nice storms, softening down so many of those mutas, but there are just... the count of them is ridiculous. They're going to try and take out Archon, which they do, but then they will retreat. But now they're all going to fall to a single Stalker shot. The Stalkers are going to take down, oh god, the muta decimation. The Storm's doing so much damage. It is crazy.
Yeah, that was good storming there by RSVP. Weakened them up enough for the reinforcements there of the Stalkers to come from the main. So very, very smart. The downside to that is that Killer is already climbing back up the scales at 162 right now and still producing. I mean, looking at the production tab, there's 6 or 7 of them open right now, and RSVP is struggling to just make 2 High Templar at this point. He just doesn't have enough gas. He can't seem to get a break at this point because Killer's still trying to expand into the upper location right now. He's trying to take in to the center area where the gold normally would have been, but those Mutalisks are just so active on the map, he can't go anywhere.
Yeah, and the problem is that's the safest exploit he can possibly take, too. But now we're going to have all the High Templar. Nice storm. We do see a couple of mutas going down, but that is a nice defense. We do see a counterattack down here with a good chunk of Zealots with a +3 attack. That is significant. There are no carapace upgrades whatsoever for those Lings. We do have a few attack upgrades, but will it be enough? There go with Roaches. That will get to be defended as RSVP throws down its Expo once again.
Yeah, and that was just horrible because those Zealots were going to be able to do so much damage to that third or fourth at this point, you know. But you know, once those Roaches showed up, it was pretty much all over. You know, add that to The spine crawlers, yeah, it was going to be a hard-fought defense right now. Now they're trying to move back up to take out that center expansion there. The Mutalisks come back in. Storm's going down all over the place, trying to get down on those Roaches. The Mutalisks taking so much. Blink back. Good push forward there, wiping out even more of the Mutalisks, but unfortunately, the Nexus goes down, and he's not able to finish that all the way. And man, just so much damage going on in the center of the map here from Killer.
This is actually a seriously intense game. Right now, Killer is playing a starvation game. We see RSVP is once again reduced to a 1 base mining versus, let's see how many bases that we have Killer mining. We have 1 full base in the bottom left, 2 full bases in the bottom left. We've got a little bit going on at the natural. The main still has a little bit of gas, and Killer's got another base on the mid right and a base in the top middle that he can start mining soon. So he's got bases galore, and RSVP is so cost effective with these stalkers that he's really making them work, even though he's so far behind in terms of economy.
Yeah, he's definitely being a frugal fanny with those guys, and still using those storms to the very last bit. Softens up those Roaches a lot, and is able to blink back the extremely damaged stalkers there. Wades through all of them. Wow, that was a really good play there by RSVP, really holding on to that as much as possible. But yeah, Killer's still got that expansion in the upper side there. He's got to go up there and take care of that as much as possible. But yeah, there's not much RSVP is going to be able to do if he can't expand here soon enough and do it safely without Killer coming back and making a forced cancel or wiping out the base, because he just can't afford to do that again.
Yeah, but I mean, one thing is, if you talk about delayed mining time and everything, Killer has had to play so much drone micro and trying to keep drones alive. It's ridiculous. You see all these drones are being sent to the bottom right. We have Killer with a bunch of Roaches coming down here to the bottom left to try and defend against a few Zealots that are trying to push in and look for more bases, but RSVP has got to be happy to move over here to try and harass a base that does not exist, because that is what he wants. But 11 Infestors are in production right now. Oh god.
That is gonna be horrid, because they're just gonna go in, fungal growth that massive stock of group of stalkers there, and then the Mutalisks are gonna move in for the kill, and that is gonna be devastating, and that will probably force RSVP to GG.
Yeah, because that's what he needs right now. These blink stalkers are his bread and butter completely. Without them, he has no real cost-effective units that he can really use. The fungals will shut those down, and if they can't blink back, they will just simply die.
Yeah, they'll definitely deny. And the one big thing that he's really doing is denying that expansion that RSVP wants to take there in the center. And every time he forces that cancel, that's 100 more minerals that he doesn't get recouped. So he's slowly whittling away on that on the savings, more or less, of RSVP. You know, the less money he has to try to remake, the less time he's got to make a production tab happen. And you know, even now, looking at the tab, he's only got the Nexus going. You know, and now he's going in for yet another fight, throwing down all those infested Terrans. Even the Storms aren't going to help him at this point. They're trying to go down on the Terrans and the Roaches, but the Infestors still relatively untouched, and a lot of them have a significant amount of energy for fungal growth. Can he force the cancel again on this Nexus here in the center? Throws down the Infestor Terrans again. Still more shell shock and still more Storms coming down on now the Hydralisks of Killer. And oh no, unfortunately he wasn't able to force the cancel. Looks like RSVP is actually going to get that base up finally.
Killer doesn't have burrow, and that is hurting him right now. This Observer did not have vision down there, and he could have easily burrowed those Roaches, those Infestors, to keep them a lot healthier, a few more of them alive. But with those Hydras, if he can land one fungal on a good chunk of the Stalkers and get down those Storms, that'll be huge. But here we have this Templar here. They actually don't have enough for Storm, which is huge, as now we're going to see Fungals, Infested Terran, Hydras all attacking. There aren't that many, though, surprisingly. Killer's food count is being completely tied up somewhere else, and who knows where, but it's not over here.
No, definitely not. It's got to be the 76 drones he's got packing right there. He's only got 18 Roaches, and now it looks like he's just trying to bulk into those Hydra. Yeah, I don't know where he's spending that money at this point, or the bulk of that army value, because yeah, he just doesn't seem to have a lot, and those Storms are just whittling it through it. And now he's down to 166 out of his possible 200. RSVP kind of coming back in a fashion here. He's still really low on the food count, but he's being so good at the management of what little units that he has. guys, this is absolutely amazing gameplay here for RSVP.
Oh my god, look at the APMs. Right now, Killer is hitting 183 a minute average, and that's ridiculous for the new APM. That's the highest I've ever seen the new APM go for anybody. I just had fun checking that out. But look at these Archons doing so much damage. The +3 attack is huge. Killer does have 2-2. His Hive should have completed by now, but is he using the Hive tech? Apparently not. But there is some nice fungals with it. Oh, Zealous here without charge. This could be the opportunity that Killer needs. He can fungal, use roaches on those Zealots. That will take away so much of the army that RSVP has, and then Killer might be able to push his army for the win.
Yeah, and you know, with as good as RSVP is doing here, he needs those little advantages where he can get them. And you know, there's even a fight. A Queen's even there to throw in a little bit of a fight. Oh, and down goes under the storm, wipes out the Queen, wipes out a good chunk of the things. Drones are being pulled off at this point to free up more room for Killer here, and just so much devastation going on. He wants that center base just annihilated to completely starve out RSVP. That's his one little linchpin. If he can do it, it's all over for RSVP. He's got to hold this line here and no farther, as Picard would say. You know, this is where the line is, and you know, he's still warping in more units, trying to get these things pushed back, but the Roaches and Hydras now are getting into the mineral line, forcing the pull off there, and this could be the end of RSVP.
Oh, this is looking sad, but I mean, look at this. A spine crawler push is being made to the middle. There's GG, and crazy epic fashion. Killer living up to his name, and he kills one of the best Protosses out there in a crazy nice 33-minute game. That was awesome. You guys better have enjoyed that.
Wow, that was absolutely incredible. Even looking at the graph, they were, you know, almost right on top of each other through the entire engagement, and then right about the 11-minute mark, 12 and a half minute mark, we just see Killer just start to boom up, and then the army start to plateau again. You know, very little time where there was there ever just so much distance between the two, even though it looked a lot of times that Killer was just so far ahead in food that he was going to be so far ahead in this. RSVP just used those units to 110% of their efficiency and really held that off longer than honestly I thought that he could have. But he did such an amazing job through that whole